The night ghosts came to Tom Riddle. Forward. Imagine for a moment that the ghosts of Christmas past, present and future never came to Ebenezer Scrooge. Imagine instead that they turned down a different street, crossed a different threshold, and found their way into a quiet halls of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Imagine that they came not to a counting house door, but to the bedside of a brilliant, watchful boy named Tom Riddle. Long before the world learned to fear the name he would one day choose. This story is not an attempt to excuse what Tom Riddle became, nor to soften the devastation he later caused. It is an exploration of a question that lingers uncomfortably beneath every dark legend. What if someone had reached him in time? Charles Dickens gave us a tale in which a hardened man is offered redemption through truth, memory, and consequence. Here we borrow that lens and turn it towards the wizarding world to ask whether even its darkest figure might once have stood at a crossroads unseen. This is a story of ghosts and choices, of love withheld, love imagined, of the thin, frail moment where a life might have turned another way, and when the tale ends, we return unavoidably to what truly happened. Because imagining what might have been does not change the past, but it may change how we understand it. Anyway, back to the story, the fanfic, even. After all, this isn't canon, but it's just looking through a lens of a Christmas story. I'm thinking, what if? But anyway, let's have a look in a certain common room. Tom Riddle did not sleep easily. He never had. Sleep was a vulnerability. And Tom had learned early that vulnerability invited loss. Even at Hogwarts, surrounded by stone walls thick with magic and rules, he slept lightly. Mind always ticking, always listening. So when the fire in the Slytherin common room guttered low, and the air grew suddenly cold, Tom was awake to notice the clock on the wall stopped. The sound was not loud. That was what frightened him most. A presence filled the room. Not threatening, not kind, simply there. Tom sat up. "You're not supposed to be here," he said calmly, though his fingers had already slipped beneath his pillow where his wand lay hidden. The figure before him shimmered, like memory given shape. Not a ghost in the Hogwarts sense. No chains, no reluctant robes, but something older, heavier. "I am the ghost of Christmas past," it said gently. Tom's eyes narrowed. "That's absurd." The ghost did not argue. It only reached out, and the world folded. The past. They stood in a bleak London room that smelled of disinfectant and despair. A young woman lay dying on a narrow bed. Tom felt something twist in his chest. "Who is she?" "You know," the ghost replied. The woman whispered a name. "Tom," with her final breath. Tom staggered back. "No," he said sharply. "She was weak. She left me nothing." "She gave you everything," said the ghost. "Her life." The scene shifted. The orphanage, the cold iron bed, children whispering, Tom watching, always watching, learning how fear worked. "You learned early," said the ghost, "that control felt safer than love." Tom said nothing. He could not. The ghost released him. The present. Tom found himself back in Hogwarts, but not as he knew it. He saw himself as others did, a brilliant boy, admired, feared. Professors praised his intellect. Students followed him. But he also saw what he did not notice before, the way that his companions stiffened when he entered. The way admiration carried an edge of terror. "This is power," Tom said firmly. "This is loneliness wearing a crowd," replied the ghost of Christmas present, now standing beside him. The ghost showed moments that Tom thought of as irrelevant. Slughorn offering a genuine pride. A house elf shrinking upon his gaze. A boy flinching after a cruel word. "You could choose differently," the ghost said. "You always could." Tom clenched his fists. "Kindness is weakness." "Then why does it frighten you so?" The ghost faded. The future. The final ghost did not speak. It did not need to. Tom followed it through years, unspooling like ash in the wind, a name discarded, a face feared, followers kneeling, but never close. He saw battles won and empty halls afterwards. He saw himself split, less than human, suspended but never alive. At the end, there was no throne, only silence. No one mourned him. Tom fell to his knees. "I didn't know," he whispered. "I didn't know it would be like this." The ghost pointed, not at death, but at choice. The morning. Tom woke before dawn, breath ragged, hands trembling, the fire crackling as if nothing had happened. But everything had. For the first time in his life, Tom Riddle felt something unfamiliar, terrifying. Regret. Not the shallow kind, deep, aching regret for what he might become. He rose, dressed, and went to the great hall early. When a young student dropped his books, Tom helped him gather them. The boy started. Tom did too. It felt strange, but not weak. Years later, Slughorn would have noticed, if he could, that Tom Riddle never asked about immortality, and that his ambition turned towards mastery, not domination. That his brilliance, that was once sharp as a blade, learned restraint. History still remembered Tom Riddle, but not as a monster, because monsters are not born. They are made, and sometimes, if reached in time, unmade. Afterward. And yet, this was not the world that came to pass. No ghosts crossed Tom Riddle's path that winter night. No hand reached him early enough to soften the sharpest edges of his soul. No voice named love before power learned to speak louder. The boy did not pause. The choices did not bend, and history did not turn. Instead, Tom Riddle walked on as he always had, brilliant, charming, hollowing himself piece by piece until the name Voldemort swallowed the boy who might have been. We know how badly he turned out. We know the cost, the graves, the fear, the childhood stolen, the world left scarred by the happenings when love is never allowed in. And perhaps that is why the imagining hurts. Because somewhere in another telling, a single night of truth might have changed everything. But this is not that story. This is only the reminder that evil is not inevitable, and that timing, neglect, and silence can be just as powerful as any curse. If only this had been. I hope you all are having a wizard of a time. And as always, mischief managed.